Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next hour or so discussing the need for hospital indemnity plans for your prospects and clients and how that can come about. We have a special guest speaker with us today from GTL, Mr. Greg Esposito. We'll introduce him in a little bit as we get to his portion of the presentation, but we wanted to do a little bit of back office information to start. Today's presentation is being recorded, and it, along with much of the material that we reference, will be sent to everyone who RSVP'd to today's presentation. You'll note in the software that there's a section in there for questions and chat. We ask that you put your questions in the question box and not the chat box. That makes sense, I imagine. But we'll make certain that if we don't cover them through the course of the presentation, we get them covered for you either at the end or if we need to do some research as part of the follow-up. A bit of level set to start about Premier Marketing. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. Offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler, working through independent insurance agents such as yourself, offering contracts at the highest possible commission levels with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. That portfolio is a complete portfolio, not only with Medicare programs like Medicare Advantage and SEP and PDP programs, but a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, final expense life insurance and pre-need plans, long and short-term care programs, disability income, and ancillary benefits, much as what we'll discuss today. But in addition, dental, vision, hearing programs, critical illness cancer plans, our featured topic of hospital indemnity programs, and we have accident and telehealth programs available as well. That Medicare Advantage portfolio includes the national carriers and many of the strong regional carriers that can make a difference for you in your market. And that same philosophy carries over into the prescription drug area where those national leaders are available for you. In the Medicare supplement arena, we have a robust portfolio of products for you and different support programs to help you be successful in this space as well. And in the ancillary products in each of those categories, the national leaders in those categories are available to you through our organization, with today featuring in the hospital indemnity programs our friends at GTL. When we look at Medicare, and many times when we speak of these on these webinars, we speak of the silver tsunami, the aging of the baby boomers, one every 10 seconds, 10,000 plus a day. But if you look at Medicare based just on age, you're missing a part of the picture, because there are some folks that will age into Medicare eligibility, don't take all their benefits immediately, so it kind of skews that number. But then we need to take into account the folks that are under the age of 65, about a 1/6, 1/7 of the Medicare population, and they can be a very viable market for us as well, because the market as a whole, well, the folks have challenges with chronic conditions. 2/3 of them have 3+ chronic conditions and some income and savings challenges as well. And that's why we need to be very diligent in offering programs such as GTL's HIP program, because many times those chronic illnesses, well, it puts them in the hospital. And we want to make certain that we can protect them and their financials from that, and make certain that they're comfortable with a strong program that they're able to budget out at a minimal cost per month, because they do have choices. And in each of the categories of the folks that we encounter, we run into some of the folks who may just have Part B or even decline Part B and pick up a drug program. We have the folks with the option that they take through modernized, standardized Medicare supplements, and the folks with the Medicare Advantage programs. A lot of times when we speak of hospital indemnity, we concentrate on the Medicare Advantage programs and the hospital copays that they have in play, but the program is a viable option for folks that have chosen any path for their medical cost protection. And so we need to make certain that we're aware of that and some of the things that we can do to protect them. When folks first come into Medicare eligibility and start taking advantage of those programs, we see a pretty even split as to their choices. So that's one of the reasons why we need to be flexible in our approach with hospital indemnity programs and take advantage of the opportunity we have to protect people in each of the categories of the choices that they made. That's a diverse community. We want to make certain that we protect them. And in order to do so, sometimes we need to translate some of the language. So as part of the follow-up to today's presentation, you will receive a link to this system, which gives you access to definitions on commonly used acronyms. In each of our parts of our world, we have our own language, and Medicare certainly does, and we want to help make certain that you translate it. One of the things that we encounter, obviously, too, are the different election periods. These are a consideration when we look at the individual's entire opportunity to change coverages, but keep in mind, indemnity programs such as HIP plans don't have to worry about the election periods. We don't have to worry about OEP. We don't have to worry about a particular SEP program in order to engage a prospect or a client on a hospital indemnity program. We don't even have to worry about the weather sets. As an individual in Texas, we've had a fun week with the weather. Doesn't matter. We can still take advantage of offering programs that don't require a SEP, even those that are afraid of, oh boy, I missed the COVID-19 SEP. Part of the reason we want to make certain that we offer these programs is the majority of people who are on Medicare don't review or compare their programs annually. They have an opportunity to do some basic changes during OEP and through the SEPs, but we also have the opportunity to augment this information by offering them additional programs, and many times that includes appealing to a portion of the population that's particularly susceptible to some challenges. The folks that are older with lower incomes, lower education levels, fair or poor health, we want to make certain that they realize that there are programs out there that can help them if they were to deal with a hospitalization and the costs that come with it, medical or otherwise. And many folks that are on Medicare don't understand the coverages they have now. It gives us the opportunity to then explain why additional help can be very, very beneficial to them. Even if they did access or were aware of the information resources that are available from the government, polls have shown, Kaiser Family Foundation here in this instance tells us that, well, folks didn't even use the official site. So we are a harbinger of information to the folks we visit with. We can get them additional information about what Medicare does cover. They receive the Medicare and You book, obviously, each October, either in hard copy or electronic form, and they can find out what's covered and what's not. In many circumstances, this really verifies the information we're supplying them, because many times they're unaware. It's a third party verifying, boy, you need some help with these possible costs that you have with inpatient care, particularly if you're on Medicare only, or if you go into a situation where that stay, well, it brings about, because of your coverage, a daily copayment or a per stay copayment on just the medical costs in the hospital through an MA plan. If you don't have other coverages, boy, it can get really costly because there's no max out of pocket on the Medicare piece. So that cost is increasing leaps and bounds throughout the recent history we have here, and we want to make certain that we offer them the coverages. So when we look back and we see a previous slide that told us that the people coming into Medicare or taking advantage of Medicare first time, 41% of them are going into a Medicare Advantage program. That is actually right in the ballpark with a lot of the HIP plans, because many of them are set up to take care of those hospitalization costs that are out-of-pocket responsibility for those members. And we see that the out-of-pocket limits have been growing in some of the Medicare Advantage programs, and we want to make certain that we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly with our prospects and clients. We even have a tool in one of our Medicare Center program that we'll discuss later that goes through and gives us an opportunity to fill in the gaps. A great way to cross-sell through our CSG tool in our Medicare Center program that basically walks you through the process in offering one of these programs, and you can select the hot HIP plan of your choice, and obviously GTL is featured in this program. There's a number of reasons people go in the hospital, obviously. Stroke, heart attack happens all the time, and that hospital stay when someone is suffering from those conditions can be very, very expensive. I have a brother right now that is fighting through some of that after a massive stroke. You also have different expenses while a person's in the hospital that if they don't have other types of coverage that can deal with some of these costs, they can become very, very expensive. And we also need to look at the fact that not all the expenses that a person incurs when they are faced with a hospitalization are medical costs, particularly if someone goes into the hospital for an extended period of time. You have the family that is out of pocket for different things, and you also have then the end result of those monies that are then earmarked for payment for the hospitalization costs. It creates challenges with the budgets throughout the rest of their life and includes the basic payment of bills. So when we look at hospital indemnity programs, it's not just the expense in the hospital itself, but the other things that the folks encounter in their monthly budgets. And we see that the frequency of someone being hospitalized grows as the folks age, and that's right in the ballpark of the folks of us in the Medicare world that are dealing with this population. One of the things we kind of overlook sometimes too is the fact that falls are very common, and they contribute to hospitalizations as well. You see on television the whole "help, I've fallen and I can't get up" folks. Well, falls are a major cause for hospitalization, and it's one of the things that we can use as a indicator that a person is really, really in need of some additional coverages because of the history in this area. And because we're in the new normal, we have an opportunity to present these programs both in person but also virtually as well, and that obviously helps us take care of our customers, our prospects, and our clients, and make certain that they have the coverages that they need. So at this particular point in time, I've finally stopped to continue to ramble as I am here, but we're going to discuss the hospital indemnity plan that we think is one of your best options to use. And so we've invited Mr. Greg Esposito, who's an Assistant Vice President of Sales for Guarantee Trust Life, to come in and tell us about the programs that are available through their organization and our company as well. So at this time, I'm going to turn control of the helm over to Greg. And there we go. And Mr. Esposito, you have the helm.
Hey, thanks, John, and a big hello to everybody that's joining today. Do appreciate that. And I also want to say, for those of you who may be already selling the GTL plan, thank you for tuning in. One thing that I always like to try to do is make sure that even if you've been selling this plan for a while, you're going to pick up some type of information from me, some type of selling tip that I'm passing along. So I just wanted to start off with one quick one for you that has been pretty popular and sometimes a little bit of a light bulb going off. We all know that when we work with veterans and they go to a VA facility, they generally do not get a hospital bill. However, keep in mind, this plan we're talking about, Advantage Plus, this is an indemnity plan, so we are going to pay our policyholders based upon their actual usage of our plan and the benefits they have. So if you do have veterans that you work with and you sign them up for a GTL Advantage Plus plan, they go into the hospital, they will be able to get claim benefits from GTL even though they do not get a actual copay bill. So kind of keep that in mind. It's a little bit of an idea. So we'll start off with a tip like that, and then we'll just get going. With regard to GTL, if you're not familiar with us, we have been around for quite some time, since 1936. Mutual insurance company, AM Best rated, A- excellent, and zero debt on our balance sheet. What you really need to know about GTL is that we create ancillary products to help clients with their out-of-pocket expenses. Most of the time when they use their main insurance plan and have those out-of-pocket expenses, like today. We're talking about Medicare Advantage and how GTL's Advantage Plus plan can help them with their MA copays. But as you know, we have other standalone products like cancer plans and short-term home health care that are also set up to help with those out-of-pocket expenses. We're also known for creating very innovative products, processing business very quickly, and most importantly, we're really well known for processing our claims much faster than the competition. And the hospital indemnity space is one that we really do stand out in that area. With regard to the coverage, we always create something that is new, has bells and whistles on it that nobody has even thought of offering yet. Advantage Plus is no exception. We created this plan in 2005. We update it every couple of years to always make sure that if you are talking about GTL, you're talking about the best hospital indemnity plan in the marketplace. We also like to keep it fun and also keep it compliant, and especially for our agents, we want to do things that help you sell and sell faster. Always want to make sure the client understands what they're buying and how to use it. But we don't want you to have to take a half hour to do that. So we create consumer videos, infographics, other types of virtual marketing pieces to make sure you can explain this product in probably 5 to 7 minutes total. Use our e-application platforms, whichever one you like. That'll only take 3 to 4 minutes too. So you can actually get in the habit of talking about hospital indemnity in 5 to 7 minutes, doing another application in 3 to 4 minutes, and it's really a 15-minute or less cross sale. So we've got that program set up for you, and we're going to show you all those tools today. Also, if you're going to be meeting with the person at their house, for example, or they're coming to your office, having GTL e-app downloaded onto your tablet or smartphone works perfect. You can do the electronic application, and they can sign your device screen, and you are done. And as John mentioned a little bit earlier, you can sell this product virtually too. We have a PC platform that you can log into GTL's website, do the application for the client, and submit it to GTL without needing a wet signature. More on that later. But just so you know, we've got you all set up at GTL to give you the marketing support you need to easily cross-sell it, and we've got the platforms ready to go when your folks are ready to apply. So what we're trying to do and what we're trying to avoid all can be explained right on this slide. As far as talking to a client about Medicare Advantage, if they live in a county where they don't have any premium to pay for that plan, that's always great news. And if you take a peek at some of the copays that they may experience, they're not that scary if you look at them on a one-by-one basis. However, what happens down the road eventually is the client doesn't feel well, they call an ambulance, they go to the hospital, they're in the ER for a bit, and if it's something, towards the serious side, they're going to be in the hospital for 1, 2, or more days. And that's when they have that $1,000 or more copay that John was referencing earlier. And unfortunately, if they don't have a hospital indemnity plan, when they get that bill, hopefully they can pay it, but then they're going to pick up the phone and call you and say, how do we lower these? And it's too late. So that's what we're trying to avoid. What we want to do is just cross-sell a hospital indemnity plan to your Medicare Advantage clients, make sure it's affordable for them, and we have a great affordable product for you, very flexible. So when they have that future hospitalization, they actually end up with zero net out-of-pocket costs. And my favorite thing to hear, and it happens all the time when I travel and see groups of agents and do these presentations, is this is when the hands go up and they say, yeah, my client bought the plan, they used it a couple months later, and then they called me with 5 or 6 referrals. So using this plan, when they see how easy it works for them and how great it is, that really helps generate some referrals for you. Now, this product has an incredible history. Nobody else has a history like this in the hospital indemnity space. We've created Advantage Plus 16 years ago. We have never had a rate increase. We have never lowered policyholder benefits. And we created it in 2005, so it's easy for clients to use, and we make sure that we process claims very quickly and, most importantly, hassle-free for the client and the agent. Now, I mentioned we've got some cross-selling tools. My favorite thing to tell you about our EAP platforms is that they have STP, and that stands for straight-through processing. And that just means that whatever EAP platform you use at GTL, when you click submit, your client and you are going to receive an email that their coverage is issued in less than 10 minutes. And most times it's 2 to 3 minutes. So all of our platforms are ready to go to instantly underwrite and issue the business. Very cool. Now, the product does make a big difference in some folks' lives. So at this point in my presentation, if you are sitting here thinking, well, I don't know if I really want to talk to clients about this or not, it's my job on this slide to give you an idea of how important it is for you to do that. So I wanted to show you some examples of individual hospital indemnity policy holders. So those big dollars that you see on the right side of the screen, those are individual Advantage Plus policy holders. And those are the amounts of claims that GTL has already paid them for their one hospital indemnity plan to date. I can tell you the top one there with $60,000, that policy is now 12 years old. The client has sent into GTL about a little less than $10,000 in premium, but you can see they've already received over $60,000, and that was back in 2018. The policy on the bottom there, $33,000 and change, that's about 5-6 years old. So this is a plan that can really pay out a chunk of money if a person is having hospitalizations after hospitalizations. But sometimes it's not that big of a deal to get all of that money. Sometimes a little money is a big deal. So I want to play for you a very short 12-second voicemail that a policyholder left on their agent's voicemail.
This is Ann Miller, just letting you know that I received my check. I am so grateful for all your help. We can save our home. Thank you so much. Bye.
That policy claim was less than $3,000, but that was the difference between the client keeping their home or not. So I'm sure that policyholder and all the other ones on the screen are thrilled their agent took a few minutes to tell them about this plan. And as an agent, you have to think, how many of my clients can actually take out this big chunk of money if they have it in their bank account and not have to change their life? I know one sales, not really a tip, but just a little bit of an idea that some agents do ask their clients when they go through the Medicare Advantage plan, they will ask them, if you were in the hospital for 2, 3, 4 days and had $1,000 or more copay, would that be difficult for you to take care of? And, if the client responds, yeah, I really don't know where I'd get that money, or wow, that would be a big chunk. This is a perfect opportunity to follow up with that hospital indemnity cross sale. Now, with regard to selling this plan, there is some great news. When you sell the plan, you should expect, if you're going to use the tools that we're talking about today, you're going to have at least a 70% closing ratio with your Medicare Advantage applicants. And you're going to see that that's going to be low in some instances. As I travel the country, some agents tell me that 9 out of 10 of their MA clients have this plan. And there's some other nice things to know about it too. John mentioned a little bit earlier, you can sell this plan year round. So you just finished open enrollment, go ahead and circle back to your Med Advantage clients and talk to them about the plan. It pays great first year commissions, but even more important, renewals are paid for the life of the policy. As I meet with agents and travel the country, I hear all the time that their GTL renewals are paying for the mortgage on their second home. I was in Arizona a year and a half ago. One of my agents that's been selling for years with GTL pulled up in a really cool exotic car, and he's like, "How do you like the car, Greg?" I'm like, "I love it." And he's like, "Well, GTL renewals are paying for this car." So really cool stuff. You can really build a nice block of business with GTL and the nice renewals it pays. So with regard to the plan, when you do use it and when you do have it, you can use it in all 50 states. So even the 6 states that we show on the left side of the screen that we do not issue coverage in, once you have a policy, like my policy issued in Illinois, I can use it in all 50 states. It's also portable from the standpoint of if I move to somewhere warm, maybe I'm tired of shoveling snow, I could just take that policy with me. Just pay my premiums and I'm good to go. Also, if I change my Medicare Advantage plan in the future, no problem. Keep my GTL plan, pay my premiums, I'm all set. So always want to remain compliant. So if you're going to start doing what most agents do, cross-selling the hospital indemnity plan at a Medicare appointment, then you want to make sure you have the scope of appointment form initialed next to the hospital indemnity products box. For those of you today who are already thinking about the people that you could circle back to, who already have, they're already set up for Medicare, you do not need a scope of appointment form to just talk about GTL. Okay, so let's set the plan up. I said it was really easy to do, so let's show you how correct I was. So the first thing we do is we take a look at their Medicare Advantage plan, and we look to see how many days they have copay responsibility for inpatient hospitalizations. You know, it's going to be somewhere between 4 to 6 days usually. And then we look at the GTL quoting software, and we see what base plans are available in their state to pick from. The most popular is the 6-day and the 10-day. So we just make sure we pick a base plan from GTL that covers the amount of days they have a responsibility for their MA plan. And just kind of give you a heads up here, I call them base plans and benefit periods interchangeably. So let's just say that we're going to pick the 6-day benefit period. We're not just getting 6 days. These benefit periods restore an unlimited amount of times after 60 days of no use. So more on that later. But for now, we picked out a 6-day benefit period for our client, Mrs. Smith. So now we're going to also take a look at the amount of money that Mrs. Smith owes per day while she's at the hospital, and then we're going to look at the 6-day benefit period and see we have a choice of selecting a daily benefit of anywhere from $250 up to $750 per day. So whatever her MA copay is per day in the hospital, let's select that amount for Mrs. Smith from the GTL side, so she's getting the money to take care of that. Since this is an indemnity plan, another little tip for you, you could get her more than her MA copay, and GTL will pay her based upon her GTL coverage. So you could set Mrs. Smith up to actually have more money coming in per day from GTL than she has an MA copay for. Totally fine. All right, so 2 other things come with the base plan, whichever one you choose. Emergency room benefits going to give the policyholder $150 if they go to the ER due to an injury, like they fell and broke their hip, and they're treated there and admitted. So if that happens, they're going to get the $150 ER benefit, plus they're going to start getting their top daily confinement benefit. Mental health benefit is a different animal. Think of it as an individual component, meaning that if you are in the hospital due to a mental illness, you are going to get $175 per day for up to 7 days. If you are in the hospital for a health sickness or an injury, then you're getting the hospitalization benefit above. So it's either or. You either get the hospitalization benefit, or if you're in the hospital due to a mental health benefit, that's where you get the $175. Okay, so triggering the plan. When you show clients the video, which they're going to love, they're probably going to ask you something like, that thing looks really good, but how does it work? And you just need to let them know that it works or triggers if they're in the hospital for 12 hours. And we will actually start the clock when they enter the hospital and check in at the ER, or if they're checking in for a surgery, when they're checking in with the administrator, that's when the clock starts. Now, if you do happen to sell a 10-day benefit period, just make sure to do one additional thing. Check the box for the short duration stay rider. That rider is going to cost about less than $1 a month to add, and that's going to make the 10-day benefit period kick in after 12 hours, just like the 3 and 6 automatically do. The 10-day benefit period was our original plan back in 2005, and this product used to kick in after 24 hours. Again, we've upgraded it, so this is just a way to make sure you can keep that 10-day benefit period upgraded to kick in after 12 hours. Now, you may have noticed if you were checking out the slide while I was gabbing away that there was a 1-day benefit period that could give you $1,000 up to $2,500 for one 24-hour stay in the hospital. Now, this plan has no traction whatsoever in the senior market. However, in the underage market, it does have traction. So if you have a client that's maybe has a high deductible health plan, think about getting them a one-day benefit period on this plan, and that'll take a $2,500 bite right out of their large deductible. So when a client uses this plan, they can use it for just about anything. It could be scheduled surgery. It could be a sudden illness like a heart attack or a stroke. It could be a car accident. So as long as your client's in the hospital for 12 hours, their plan's kicking in. Now, if I were standing in front of you guys all in one space, which I hope to be doing soon, traveling around, doing some agent trainings, meeting you guys face to face, there'd be some hands up and you'd be saying, what about observation coding, Greg? Well, you just don't have to worry about that with GTL. This is an area that right from the beginning, when we started to see observation coding claims come in, we just decided that we were going to pay them at 100% of the benefit level that the client had for an inpatient stay. So the only requirement is that, again, they're in the hospital long enough for their plan to kick in. GTL is going to pay based upon what coverage they have. We also, unlike some of our competitors, do not have a maximum allowable amount of observation coded days. Whatever your benefit period is, those could all be observation coded as far as we're concerned. Some of our competitors limit it to 3 days per year. We don't do that. And that may sound okay, but I can tell you in our experience, we've actually had claims come in with up to 5 consecutive days coded to observation. So with GTL, you don't have to worry about it. With some of our other competitors, the client would not get all of the money they were expecting. So with regard to the base plans, here's how they restore. If you had a 10-day benefit period and you went in the hospital for 5 days, you come home, everything's good. If you don't return to the hospital in the next 60 days, we are getting a brand new benefit period right away. And they restore an unlimited amount of times after 60 days of no use. So you can see in this example, you didn't have to use up all 10 days. You could have, but if you even only used up one, 60 days after that last day in the hospital, you're getting a brand new 10-day benefit period to work with. And sometimes it's a little bit different. Sometimes you go in for a few days and then you come home. But before that automatic 60-day restoration, you end up going back to the hospital. Well, in this case, that's fine. You used 5 days of your 10, and now you've got the other 5 to use for going right back into that hospital before the restoration took place. And then after 60 days, you get a new benefit period. So now you can see how folks have been able to get tens of thousands of dollars from having this plan over the years. They've had multiple hospital stays. They're using these benefit periods over and over again. And again, there's no limit to them. So there's really no limit to the amount of claim benefits a person could get with this plan over the years. All right, so here's some good closers for you, but really they're just product details. When you look at this plan in most states, ages 40 through 85 can apply. The good news is once you have the plan, you can keep it as long as you like. Benefits don't go down. The policy doesn't go away as long as you pay your premiums. Also, a nice benefit GTL has always had since 2005 is a guarantee issue window. So your folks aging into Medicare 64.5 to 65.5, they can get this product, no medical questions asked. And that's a big deal, especially for your clients who may have something serious already, like insulin-dependent diabetes or COPD, emphysema. They can get this plan during the guarantee issue window. You'll find most of our competitors don't even offer that. Also, when you buy this plan, your rate stays the same. So anyone who's ever purchased this plan in the last 16 years is paying the exact same amount as they started. We do not guarantee the rates would never go up. However, I can tell you that we've never touched them. And there's no chatter around GTL about touching the rates because the plan's been working beautifully for 16 years. Okay, no annual policy fee. We do charge in most states a one-time $20 application fee. And our little household discount, if you will, is if you're going to sign a spouse up, either at the same time or down the road, we're going to waive their $20 application fee. We like to pay the benefits directly to the policyholder. I guarantee you, when they get their check from GTL, that's when they start calling you with referrals. So it's always good to tell the client, when you get home from the hospital, make sure you fill out the claim form, send it to GTL. They'll send the money directly to you. In some cases, the hospitals fill out the claim form, and if the client did assign their benefits to them, and we pay the hospital directly, which works for GTL. No problem. Either way is good for us. I just like to pass along that if you have the client complete the claim form and send it to GTL, they're going to get the check. Something we have that no other carrier does is an agreement with the Mayo Clinic. So all policyholders for Advantage Plus have access to the Mayo Clinic's online symptom checker. I'm sure everybody on the line today has regrettably used one of the symptom checkers out there, and go ahead, went and checked a couple boxes, answered one or two questions, and got this wide-ranging diagnosis, and you end up more scared than you were before you went online. So the Mayo Clinics, at last count, had 33 more algorithms programmed into it than any other one online, and also has many more drill down questions. So when the client needs to find something out, they can't go to hold of their doctor, they can use this one and get a much tighter range of what they may have and the seriousness of it. So just comes with the policy. You don't have to check a box. Again, it's just another benefit that GTL has worked in over the years to make sure that we stand out from our competition. So anytime you talk about GTL, you need to make sure that you explain this product has a 6-month pre-existing condition. And it's super simple to do. It's only one sentence that I copy and pasted from the actual policy. But let's just run through an example. So if you called me up today and sold me a plan, and it went into effect today, anything that my doctor is treating me for in the prior 6 months, or has told me to go set up a surgery for, or go into the hospital for testing for, that is my set of pre-existing conditions. So I cannot use the product in the first 6 months I have it for those exact pre-existing conditions. After 6 months, I certainly can. So that's really the way that's set up, and it's really as simple as to why we have this. We wouldn't want people calling you and saying, you know what, I didn't want that hospital indemnity plan that you told me about 3 months ago, but now I'm going to the hospital next week, so sign me up. I mean, you can imagine if we allowed that, what the rates would be for this plan. They would be very undesirable. So more importantly than me just saying, hey, talk to everybody about this, is make sure to also tell your guarantee issue folks that they still do have the 6-month pre-ex, even though they're getting the policy, no medical questions asked. And you're going to find that that's not a big deal. Somebody who's getting this policy who already has, let's say, COPD, maybe they do have a hospital stay that they can't use it for in the first 6 months, but we know there's going to be multiple stays down the road that they're going to be thrilled that they have this product. So you don't have to wait 6 months for everything. Anything that is not pre-ex, you can use it right away. So I could buy it today, fall and break my hip tomorrow, and use it right away. My appendix could rupture. As John mentioned a little bit earlier, heart attacks and strokes, they happen all the time. There's no 6-month pre-ex for heart attack or stroke. So keep that in mind. Okay, I know we've got some folks on here from multiple states today, so just want to pass along. You don't have to worry about ever applying for or even quoting a client for something that's not available in their state. All of our quoting software is set up so that you're going to put in their name and state first, and you'll never be able to quote somebody that doesn't have, for something that's not available in their state. Most states have our complete package, some don't. And that's just based upon their own state's regulations. And if you ever want a specimen policy, just call sales support. They'll email you a PDF in seconds. Okay, so the fun part about this is me going through some of the riders with you, and then I'll get into the real fun part, which is how agents actually cross-sell this. So ambulance rider, I think it's a must-have. It is really inexpensive, usually $3 to $5 per month, and clients use it a lot. And ours is the best one out there. So with ours, when you use an ambulance, you get your benefit. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but there's actually some proof behind that and some substance behind that. So with GTL's ambulance rider, If you take an ambulance and it just turns out to be an hour-long ER stay or an observation-coded stay, you're going to get your ambulance benefit. Some of our competitors will not pay you your ambulance benefit unless you are admitted to the hospital. We don't do that. Also, if you need to take another ambulance, maybe a day or two later to another hospital or a skilled nursing facility, you're going to get another benefit from GTL. We do not limit the amount of ambulance benefits that you can use during one hospitalization. We say you can use this thing up to 4 times per year and up to 12 times over the life of the policy. Some of our competitors say, sorry, only 1 ambulance benefit per hospitalization event, so not as good as GTL's. Also, air ambulance is included in our latest ambulance rider. So it's a great rider to have, couple dollars per month, and even better, if you do max out your ambulance trips at 12, the rider's going to fall off your coverage, and then your premium would be lower in the subsequent months. Critical accident rider is a rider that is best explained as you get a little bit older, the bones get a little more brittle, and when you slip and fall, things tend to break. That's what this rider is about. So if you have this rider and you slip and blow out your knee or fracture your skull or your hip, you can see you're going to get a lump sum payout. You can see there's a $5,000 or $10,000 rider choice, and that's the most that you can get in total for this rider. However, I want to show you how inexpensive it is. I have this rider, the $10,000 rider, on my HIP plan, and I'm 56 years old, and it costs me $1.86 a month. So very inexpensive. If you have not cross-sold cancer because you just don't know how to bring up that subject, maybe it's a little uncomfortable, let me share with you the best cancer cross-sell line I've ever heard in my entire life. Maybe you have a better one, and if you do, please let me know because I'd love to share it with everybody. You can simply ask Mrs. Smith, what company is your cancer plan with? It's that easy. And Mrs. Smith is going to be thinking to herself, oh, I don't have one. It sounds like I should. And from there, she's probably going to respond, well, I don't have one. Why do I need one of those? I already have insurance. So what I suggest to you is to stay away from statistics. Just get into your own personal experience with cancer. We all have one. In my case, if I was talking to Mrs. Smith, she would say, well, why do I need a cancer plan, Greg? I already have insurance. And I would say, well, I can tell you my personal experiences in the last year and a half, I've had 3 of my close friends diagnosed with cancer out of the blue. Some of them were under 65 and one was over 65, but in each case, even though they had health insurance, they still had thousands of dollars of out-of-pocket costs, and some had to miss work for a while too, so there were some other expenses. And I think if you talk to Mrs. Smith like that, she's going to do one thing. She's going to start thinking about who does she know who she's had that experience with, her friends or coworkers, and probably going to have her eyes opened a little bit more towards maybe I should listen about what GTL's cancer coverage is. Maybe I need this. So this rider is super comprehensive. It's even more comprehensive than some standalone cancer policies that are being sold in the market today. It starts off with an invasive, life-threatening cancer benefit. So generically, let's just say that's stage 1 through 4 internal cancers. And you get a benefit choice when you apply, $2,500 up to $20,000. Now, we also have cancer in situ covered, which is early stage cancer. So think of this as pre-stage 1 cancers. That's a 25% payout. And we also have skin cancer included here. So basal cell or squamous cell skin cancer diagnosis is a $500 benefit that's payable up to 3 times over the life of the policy. So think about this: skin cancer, early stage cancer, invasive cancer. Very comprehensive. And the best part about this rider is if you had a client who used up their skin cancer benefit, so $1,500 there, and used their cancer in situ benefit, whatever that was, let's say $2,500 there, they still have their full invasive life-threatening cancer benefit waiting for them should they unfortunately be diagnosed with that. So that's why I say this thing was really built for use. And just to share with you what most agents sell and why they do it, we see a lot of $10,000 cancer riders. Agents do that because they look at the client's MOOP, their maximum out of pocket, and they double it. And they double it because what if a person gets diagnosed with cancer, they start getting treated. We all know that doesn't take a week, it takes months. And they're going to hit their max out of pocket, and then the calendar year may turn and they got another one to pay. So that's a great reason to offer at least a $10,000 benefit from GTL. We've looked at the latest maximum out of pockets, and they're, as John mentioned, they are rapidly increasing. So I'm starting to probably guess that the $15,000 cancer rider is going to be used quite a bit in the future. If you add the lump sum cancer rider, your client may want to add a recurrence benefit rider, which basically means if you get paid your lump sum due to being diagnosed with a covered cancer, you're going to go into treatment. Hopefully you go into remission. And if you do, the rider starts rebuilding over the next 5 years. And if that cancer comes back or a totally different type of covered cancer, you can get paid your lump sum again. In terms of usage of this rider, about 30 to 40% of the folks that get the lump sum cancer rider do add the recurrence benefit rider. A couple more riders that I say use sparingly based upon the client's age, condition, and even where they live. The skilled nursing facility rider gives you two choices. You can have it start day 1 and go through day 50. That's a perfect scenario for somebody who possibly had a stroke and they're going to need some physical therapy, speech therapy, maybe not all the way through past day 50, but if they get into that skilled nursing facility day 1, they're going to start getting money from GTL. Or the second choice, you could have it set up probably when they start experiencing a copay on their Med Advantage plan, day 21, and go through day 100. The only requirement we have for this rider to kick in is 3 consecutive days in the hospital and then movement to the skilled nursing facility within 30 days of that hospitalization. And we're going to use whatever time we can to help them get it there. So emergency time, observation coded time, anything we can do to help them get to that 3-day requirement, we are definitely going to do. Last rider I use sparingly. I use this for folks that are in, let's say, a rural area where they're probably going to go to an outpatient surgical facility to get things done like cataract surgery, possibly a colonoscopy if they do remove some tissue during the procedure. The reason I say using it sparingly is, one, it's only good for surgical procedures, not MRIs or X-rays. The other thing is I find this rider a little more costly as you get older, and you have to start wondering, well, if I'm in my 70s, do I want to pay $180, to get $250 worth of benefits? So depending upon what age your client is applying for, the rate's going to stay the same as they get older, but check out the pricing of the rider just to make sure, one, they're kind of in a situation where they would use it, and two, that it's not super expensive for them. Okay, so underwriting is a snap. If you answer the application questions no, you get the product. If you answer any of them yes, you do not. Guarantee issue, 64.5 to 65.5. Always like to pass along that lump sum cancer rider is never guarantee issue. And also, tip for you here, only has a 5-year look back. So you may have some clients that have already had cancer, been in remission for 5+ years. They may be able to get the lump sum cancer rider. 6-month pre-X, we already covered that. The policy is contestable for 24 months, so let's make sure the clients are answering the application questions correctly and honestly to the best of our ability. And with regard to paying for it, same old song and dance as most insurance products nowadays. Bank draft monthly is the one used most often, but we can draft for any mode. You don't have to collect any premium. If you have somebody who doesn't want their account drafted, we can do direct bill for quarterly, semi-annual, or annual. It's a little tough in this environment today because we would require a paper app for direct bill mode and the premium payment for the first mode selected. Here's another way that GTL really stands above the crowd. Our first application question says, in the last 6 months, have you been an inpatient in the hospital? Our competitors have a 12-month look back. So right there, it's easier to get into a GTL plan than it is with our competitors. And also, we're just looking for inpatient stays. So if your client was in the ER or observation coded for 3 days, that's okay. They could actually answer this question no. You'll also find that we have less questions than our competitors and that we have less of a look back for conditions or hospital stays. And at the end of the day, we've just been doing it longer and we do it better. And when you pay hundreds of thousands of claims over time, you get really good at it. So when you look at what we have, the product, the features, the platforms, the consumer pieces to help you sell, you're going to see it's really a great idea to talk about GTL. And I just want to show you a quick video of how easy the e-platforms are to use. Nice thing is all of them look exactly the same. So if you're using the e-app that's downloaded onto your smartphone or your tablet, it's going to look exactly like this. This is a video of the PC platform, so you can do your virtual sales. I'll just kind of let it roll and let you watch. And there you go. You can see, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, a couple minutes after you click submit, your client and you will get an email from GTL saying, thanks for applying. Your coverage has been approved. Plan works absolutely great, and so do our e-app platforms. You may have noticed on that about step number 8, there was mentioned to do a verification call. Again, only time your client needs to do a verification call is when you're not gathering a signature. So if you're not meeting with them in person, obviously you're not getting a signature. So conference them into the verification call while you're doing the app. It takes less than 3 minutes. They're not asked any hard questions, no medical questions. They can ask a few questions to identify themselves and also the name of the product they're applying for, your name as the agent, and if they answer the questions honestly and understand they need to pay a premium to keep the plan. Very simple, straightforward, and it's all automated. So it's like talking to Siri or Alexa. All right, so something that's brand new, if you want to increase some of your clients' existing GTL coverage, you can now do that online. So when you log into the agent portal, one of the first things you'll see is increase of benefits. You check that and you'll be able to increase their existing coverage online. Okay, last thing we're covering before the real fun stuff is the claim process. Well, sit back and relax. All you really need to remember is you don't have to do anything except tell the client to contact GTL to get a claim form. And we're going to take it from there. It's a hassle-free process. They fill out a very short claim form, which asks for their policy number, contact info, when they went in the hospital, what it was for, their doctor's contact info, and then the policyholder signs the claim form. They sign a HIPAA form, and they send us the bill. That is it. Now, 60% of the people do that perfectly, but for the 40% that don't, we have the HIPAA form. So if they don't send us the right bill, we can reach out to the facility or we can reach out to the doctor to get what is needed to process their claim. So you're not running around, and more importantly, they are not running around thinking this is a hassle. So here's some great things to know about the claim process. First thing, GTL has no reason whatsoever to deny a claim that needs to be paid or to even delay it. We just don't do it, and there's no reason to. The product works great. Second thing is anytime your client wants to check on a claim, most don't because they're processed so fast, but they can always call GTL, and so can you. We will be more than happy to tell you all the information we can about the claim within the HIPAA regs. However, better to have the policyholder call because we can tell them more. And if you're wondering how long it takes us to process claims, about 8 business days. And if we do need to order medical records to check on something, we order them, we pay for them, and we call the doctor every 3 days to make sure that we get the information as soon as possible. And if you're wondering why we would call for medical records, let's just say that I got the plan and 2 weeks later I turned in a claim for left hip replacement surgery. Sounds like I probably knew about that surgery when I scheduled it. And there is a question on the application asking if I have surgeries coming up that I know about. So GTL, definitely within our rights to go ahead and pull the medical records to make sure that I didn't know about that or it's not a pre-existing condition. So we try not to pull medical records because it just slows things up a little bit, but we know when to pull them, we know when not to, and I just want you all to know that we're contacting the doctor every 3 days to get this as quick as we can. So again, we don't want to delay paying a claim. Okay, let's get into the fun part here, and this is how agents actually cross-sell the plan. By now, you guys are very experienced insurance agents, and you know that doesn't matter what type of coverage it is, the client never calls you until it's too late to get it. And specifically with regard to hospital indemnity, they're going to call you after they just got out of the hospital. So it's too late. So the best sales idea I can give you is one, bring it up. That's all you have to do. And here's how most agents do it. They're talking to the client about Medicare Advantage coverage, and when they get to the inpatient hospital care portion, they're going to say, Mrs. Smith, with this Medicare Advantage plan, you're going to be responsible for $250 per day for the first 6 days that you have a hospital stay. Now, just stop right there and follow up with this sentence. Now, that's a copay that can add up. So I don't want you to have to worry about budgeting for it or even losing any sleep over that at night. So after I get you set up for your Medicare Advantage plan, I'll show you how a separate hospital indemnity plan for probably about $1 a day will be able to reduce that copay to zero. Would you like me to see if I can reduce that to zero for you, Mrs. Smith? That's all it takes. Point out a concern, tell her you got a solution that's going to come down the road, and you're going to show it to her in a few minutes. Some agents do it a little bit differently. They will go through all the copays, and then they will say to the client, now there's a couple here that concern me. You know, if you were to go use an ambulance and then go into the ER and stay a couple days, now you've got a $1,000 or more copay. Would that be tough for you to come up with, that $1,000 or more? And if the client says yes, we'll say, well, you know what, I got a great solution. So here's something that agents do. They have the consumer cross-selling video that I'm about to show you queued up on their phone or their tablet, whatever they're not using, or even selling virtually, they could just play it on their screen. And they will say, Mrs. Smith, while I double check your Medicare Advantage application for accuracy, let me show you a quick video on the product I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. This is the one that's going to lower your copays to zero when you have those future hospital stays.
So you just enrolled for Medicare Advantage health coverage. Great choice. Did you know that there's a way to protect you from the out-of-pocket expenses you incur when using your Medicare Advantage coverage for hospitalizations? Help fill any gaps in coverage and strengthen your financial protection with an Advantage Plus hospital confinement indemnity insurance from Guarantee Trust Life Insurance Company. Since 2005, GTL's industry-leading Advantage Plus has been helping clients lower or completely eliminate their net out-of-pocket expenses stemming from Medicare Advantage copays and deductibles after a hospitalization event. Coverage is affordable and pays policyholders directly based on their time in the hospital, regardless of any other healthcare coverage they have. In addition, you can incur potential out-of-pocket costs for ambulance trips, outpatient surgery, skilled nursing, critical accidents, dental vision, or cancer treatments. Advantage Plus can help. Advantage Plus is offered year-round, and it's guarantee issue for ages 64.5 to 65.5. Now let's take a closer look at how it works. Meet Brian. He is 65 years old, and his Medicare Advantage coverage leaves him responsible for a daily hospitalization copay of $250 per day for his first 5 days in the hospital. The high copay is a concern for Brian. There's an easy way to help alleviate his concerns. The GTL Advantage Plus Hospital Indemnity Insurance Policy provides a restorable 6-day benefit period of $250 per day for $22.64 per month. Brian later suffered an illness that kept him in the hospital for 5 days. After the first 12 hours in the hospital, his Advantage Plus coverage kicked in. What is the out-of-pocket cost he will incur when he leaves the hospital? With his Medicare Advantage $250 per day hospital copay, his 5-day stay totaled $1,250. Luckily, Brian's Advantage Plus benefit of $250 per day for 5 days was paid directly to him and completely covered the cost. Instead of worrying about how to pay this large sum, Brian could focus on his recovery without this financial setback. GTL's Advantage Plus is flexible and versatile, with a strong set of riders to match the desired coverage for each policyholder. So what if Brian had to take an ambulance to the hospital for his illness? Adding the ambulance rider to Brian's coverage would cost him less than $5 a month, and Brian would receive $200 each time he uses an ambulance, even if he is not admitted as an inpatient. Now is a great time to think about GTL's Advantage Plus.
There you go. Great video to use during the cross sale. And I'm sure some of you guys were actually wondering, and the answer to your question is yes, you could share this video on social media. You could put it on your website. You could send an email to your client, Mrs. Smith, just checking in to make sure your Med Advantage product is working great for you. Also wanted to give you a 3-minute video to watch. This product, in combination with your Medicare Advantage, can lower those copays down to 0. Give me a call if you liked what you see on the video. Agents are doing this all the time, and I can tell you they're telling me it's working great. All right, if you're not going to use the video, that's fine, but make sure you use some type of example, whether it's verbal or our infographic, to walk Mrs. Smith through how this product works. It's important for them to understand, oh, I go in the hospital, I'm going to have that copay, I get the money from GTL. That's really what keeps the cross-sale percentage way up there. The infographics are available for us to mail right to your doorstep, or we have a PDF version that you can use virtually, whatever you like. And you could also use these as a pre-approved consumer prospecting piece. So if you want some mailed to your doorstep and you want to put your stamp or sticker on them and then mail them to your clients, you can do that. We also have a new client presentation. This is what I mentioned very early in the presentation. This is kind of to help you walk through the product virtually with the client, a little bit of a slideshow, if you will. That's available in PDF. Also, a postcard is available. So if we send you the PDF of that, you can take it to your local printer and they can go ahead and maybe mail merge it with your client list, and then you can mail them right out. Well, we covered a lot today, and as usual, when you're working with Premier, they really know this product. We've been working with Premier for 20 years now at least, so they're super familiar with the product. But if you ever need anything, GTL sales support is here waiting for your call. So if you want some supplies, you could do that online, or you can call sales support. If you have any questions on the product or how to use the EAP platform, emails, sales support, or give them a holler. And if you have any questions on the product, or maybe it's a weekend or after hours and you're at an appointment and you're stumped, just email me at gspo@gtlic.com. I'm here to help. My phone's always with me, and I'm going to get back to you as soon as I can and give you that answer you need, and hopefully get you to be able to get that sale right then and there. So if we have some questions, I'm happy to take them now, and we'll see what we have.
Actually, Greg, we do have a number of questions. One of the first ones is if there is an age restriction for the ambulance ride option.
Okay, so in most states, the maximum age to get the rider is 80, but once you have it, you can use it anytime you like.
Awesome. John asked if the ER benefits paid, wait a minute, you mentioned ER benefit paid if admitted in addition to the hospital copay. However, what if not admitted?
Okay, so great question. Two things do have to happen in order for the person to get the $150 ER benefit. One, they have to go there due to an injury. So, a fell and broke your hip. So right there, if it's a heart attack or a stroke, that's not an accident injury. So that's off the table. Or let's say if I did have an injury where I just slipped on the ice and broke my wrist and they just patched me up at the ER and sent me home, so I wasn't admitted. So yeah, you have to have both things happen. go to their due to an injury and treated and admitted.
Awesome. Another question is basically, what about a customer on blood pressure medication that has a heart attack less than 6 months or after the 6-month period? Does the medication act as kind of the pre-existing?
Great question. So the first thing is that whenever you're at all concerned about if my client should apply, first thing I say is just read the question black and white, and if they can answer it no, do it. If you have any kind of, you're just not sure, you can always call sales support and say, hey, I want to speak to an underwriter. You'll be on the phone with an underwriter in seconds. Let them know the client's particular situation, and they can tell you whether or not it's a no or a go for applying. To answer that specific question, no, that's not going to be a situation. There's tons of people on blood pressure medications and all that kind of stuff. That's where, as I mentioned earlier, we are not looking for reasons to not pay a claim. So if somebody is on blood pressure medications, and then they have a heart attack or a stroke, that's not considered, a blood pressure med is not going to be considered a pre-existing condition for a heart attack.
Awesome. There's a question that deals with the implementation of the CSG tool. Charles, I'll get you details on that for the options that are showing through that software program to make certain that we answer that correctly for you. Marie is asking if we have access to the video and we're able to supply that as part of the follow-up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a little email that I'll send to you, John, and usually it'll have a link to the consumer video, a link to the infographic, a link to the consumer presentation, and the postcard, and I'll also toss in there a 12-minute video of me just doing an e-application, so you can kind of just see it, a little slower than that little 60-second video I showed you there too. So yeah, we want you to have this stuff and use it. You're gonna love how it works for you.
So bonus points for Marie. You're gonna get a whole bunch of stuff there. One of the
for
questions
everybody, yes,
is about the status of where the programs are available. He's inquiring directly as to New York if programs are available in New York State.
Great. So we actually have 6 states that the product is not available in. New York, unfortunately, no GTL products are available in New York. Keep in mind, though, if you do have this product, let's say you live in New Jersey and then you travel to New York and use it, you can use it there. But we do not issue this product out of New York. Okay.
Is a list billing available as well if someone goes into a company and offers it as part of a benefit to the employees?
Yes, it sure is. We list bill for 4 or more lives on any GTL products.
Awesome. The video is generating a great deal of interest. Can that be linked to a agent's website as well?
Absolutely. Website, social media. I pop it out on social media a few times a year, especially during open enrollment, so agents kind of have a quick access to the link. But yeah, that's a consumer-approved piece for you guys to use. So use it however you like.
Awesome. And the last one you touched on briefly, but I usually beat it to death as well. But they're asking if the video can be played during the MA presentation if it was properly noted on the scope of appointment.
Absolutely, it can. Yeah, I mean, it's consumer approved. As long as the clients sign that scope that, for hospital indemnity, you can definitely do it. And that's really how most agents use it. There's always, you're doing a lot of talking during your presentations, and it's nice to have a little bit of a 3-minute break to have somebody kind of explain the product for you, and that's what the video does. Gives you a chance to kind of recoup yourself, dot the I's, cross the T's on the Med Advantage coverage, and just kind of get set up. And so I would definitely recommend using it. And I love the first line of the video. It says, "So you just signed up for Medicare Advantage? Great choice." So it kind of affirms what the product they're getting and how this one's really going to help work with that.
Awesome. Not subject to the 48-hour cooling off period since it is a health product. And another question, you rolled through it a little bit on some of the support things here, Greg, but they're asking if you can get the presentation PowerPoints. And I imagine yes.
So I'm not actually allowed to share my slides because these are just for agents to use, as opposed to, you can't use them with consumers. So I'm not allowed to pass them on. However, you can watch the video as many times as you like. And that's you can, we record all of these. I'm sure you're going to have it. You're recording this and you can watch it as much as you like. And if you're going to take a slide or something like that and kind of create something, to help consumers with, and you'll have an opportunity to view it enough times to memorize it, if you will.
And I think they were referring, Greg, in this circumstance, one of the slides mentioned that there was a presentation that you can use.
Oh yeah, so that's actually a different presentation, and I will send that along with the links today. We actually have a client presentation. And that's definitely for you guys to use virtually, and we'll get that link to you too. That's all going to be part of the package that we're sending Marie and everybody else.
Stellar. The last question that we have here is another question: if the plans are available in Florida, and I think we'll provide a piece that tells people where all the plans are. But is this plan available in Florida?
So the plan is absolutely available in Florida. The name of the plan in Florida is different. It's called Indemnity Plus, and we do have an Indemnity Plus video, just like the one for Advantage Plus. The only difference in Florida, all the bells and whistles that I talked about today are available in Florida. However, the Florida plan does have an association wrapper around it, if you will. So, it's one of those where in order to get the plan, you have to join the association, and doing that costs an additional like $350 a month. But then you get to use the Advantage Plus plan exactly as described today. And that's really just done because in Florida, we wanted to make sure we had all the bells and whistles that I talked about today available in Florida. And in order to do that, we had to set it up under association wrapper, if you will.
And I'll throw this one in there. Is material available in Spanish?
Currently, we do not have it available in Spanish.
Okay, that's it. So
we're working on that.
Yeah, it's legality comes into some of the equation as well when we talk about different languages. So appreciate that. We've got just a few things that we'll do to close up the presentation. I will pull back some info here and address why folks will want to work with us at Premier. Hopefully you can see that screen change now. Some of the things: we do make available electronic contracting through the SuranceBay program, so it's easy for an agent to create a profile and contract with multiple carriers electronically. We do offer discounted errors and admissions coverage for qualified agents, and that means you have a contract with us. So you own that policy, and it covers you regardless of whom you're contracting through for different products. We offer bundled discounted continuing education programs through our association with WebCE, even offer an opportunity for an agent to improve their own benefit package because, here we go. Somebody is really wanting to chat with me here. Where you can get modified guarantee issue disability income programs for yourself, and you make commission doing it. We also help with the fact that there's a repository of past presentations. The recordings are available on our website or on our YouTube channel. And we want to make certain that you're aware of the fact that the Medicare Center program gives you some cross-selling tools that can be helpful for you in this area as well, where it really walks you through the process. GTL's got great programs to do that themselves. This would be a option for you if you're also quoting some of the Medicare Advantage programs. We also want to make certain that you are, as an agent, aware of all the trips and incentives that are available. So there's a spot on our website that gathers that information for you, and it helps you qualify for Premier's programs as well. Last year was to be a cruise that wound up being cash in the pocket instead. We do help put you in front of folks as well with different programs that can be used face-to-face or in reality. And we help with the direct mail cost based on production, deeply discounted. So you can do some things consistently to put yourself in front of folks as well. We use vetted different vendors for that, programs that are in both our health and final expense divisions. For folks that want to do direct mail but don't want the entire expense up front, we do also offer mail return programs through two different organizations that we work with, and we have online Facebook lead programs for final expense and Medicare as well. It's all an opportunity for us to further our relationship with you as the agent and ask for your business, basically, like you do as well with your prospects and clients. We want the opportunity to work with you, particularly on your GTL business, and it's an option for you that I think anyone active in the Medicare space really needs as part of their portfolio to integrate it into their overall personal marketing plan and be an asset for you in your portfolio. So all that said and done, I'm going to check the questions really quickly. Kathleen, I'll get you information about the Medicare Facebook leads directly for you. We'll put that in the follow-up as well to make certain that we give you an opportunity to utilize those programs. Watch for the follow-up that we'll be sending as well to make certain that we answer all your questions. The follow-up's going to come to you as an email, so watch for that, because sometimes the links on a blind copy email will kick it into your spam filter. We want to make certain that we take care of you in that fashion and answer all of the questions and make certain that you have the information we've been promising. You can reach us through our toll-free number as well. You can respond to the email we send out, but 1-800-365-8208 will get you in touch with our organization. If you're working with a marketer, they'll set you directly up to that conversation. If you haven't worked with us before, we'll make certain we have qualified people to help you with the process. And you can also reach us through our website at premiersmi.com. All that said, we've run a little long. I apologize. I talk a lot, and I realize that. But Greg had a great piece of information for us. We want to make certain that we get you all the details that are available to you in that space and make certain that we're handling everything we need to for you. So we want to thank you for the business that we've done in the past, the opportunity to work with you in the future, and we realize your most valuable asset is your time. We've gone through a bit of that as well, so we want to thank you for that investment. And until we speak with you again in the very near future, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much. Hope everybody stays warm, and we look forward to talking to you very soon. Thanks so much. Take care, and hey, good selling to you.